Part 1. The drama between Karl-Anthony Towns and Draymond Green. A deep dive into NBA rivalries and personalities. In the NBA, where emotions run high and rivalries are a central element of the league's fabric, personal conflicts often spill over into the public eye, captivating fans and media alike. The recent comments made by Golden State Warriors forward Draymond Green about New York Knicks center Karl-Anthony Towns have ignited a wave of backlash and fueled discussions about the boundaries between competitive trash talk and personal insensitivity. Green, known for his fiery demeanor both on and off the court, made headlines when he claimed on his podcast that Towns had missed a game against the Warriors due to fear of facing Jimmy Butler, rather than citing the real reason, a family emergency following the death of a family friend. The situation unfolded just as Towns was mourning the loss of someone close to him, which only deepened the sensitivity of the matter. Green's comments, despite being refuted by Towns himself and the general public, sparked a debate about the role of players as public figures and the potential consequences of making such reckless statements. In his response, Towns opted to take a higher road, rejecting hostility and choosing to approach the situation with love and understanding. His public statement, delivered with grace and maturity, said, "I choose to approach that with love and not hate. That's all I really care about." This response demonstrated a level of emotional intelligence that is often overlooked in the heat of competition, but is increasingly seen as vital in the modern NBA, where the players' off-court personas are as significant as their on-court exploits. Towns has faced unimaginable personal hardship in recent years. In addition to losing a family member to cancer, he suffered the loss of his mother and 6 other relatives during the devastating wave of COVID-19 that swept through the world in 2020. These experiences, marked by grief and emotional pain, have shaped Towns into a player who approaches life with a profound sense of resilience. His ability to keep pushing forward in his career, both professionally and personally, despite these tragic losses, has earned him the respect of his peers and fans alike. For those familiar with Towns' journey, his approach to Green's comments is entirely in line with his character. He has never shied away from expressing vulnerability, sharing his struggles with the public, and showcasing the humanity that often gets overshadowed by the high stakes of professional sports. In the modern era of the NBA, where mental health and emotional well-being are taking center stage, Towns' response can be viewed as a benchmark for how players can handle conflict with maturity and grace. Hashtag the role of media in shaping player narratives. Draymond Green's podcast remarks, though insensitive, are an example of the power of media in shaping public perception of players. In the past, players had less direct control over their narratives, but with the rise of social media and personal platforms, they now have the opportunity to make their voices heard. Green's comments about Towns on his podcast were intended to spark controversy and garner attention, which is a common strategy for podcast hosts seeking to boost their visibility and relevance. However, this incident also underscores the responsibility that players, particularly those with large followings like Green, have when using their platforms. The line between playful rivalry and crossing into personal territory is often blurred, and when public figures fail to recognize the sensitivity of certain situations, the consequences can be far-reaching. For Green, who is already known for his trash-talking and fiery on-court persona, this incident might serve as a reminder of the impact that words can have on both the individual and the collective. In today's NBA, where off-court drama often becomes as headline-worthy as on-court performances, it's essential for players to consider the long-term effects of their words and actions. While the league encourages healthy competition, there's a growing awareness of the importance of respect, particularly in addressing personal matters. Towns, in responding with love rather than anger, sets an example for how athletes can rise above petty conflicts and focus on their own personal growth and well-being. Hashtag the impact of personal struggles on performance. In professional basketball, as in any sport, personal challenges can have a profound impact on performance. While players are often expected to compartmentalize their lives and focus solely on their craft, real-life events can sometimes bleed into their professional experiences. Towns' ability to maintain a high level of performance, despite his personal losses, speaks volumes about his work ethic and mental toughness. Towns' first season with the New York Knicks has been an incredible success, with the big man averaging 24.2 points and 13.3 rebounds per game and earning an All-Star starter selection. His performance against the Sacramento Kings, where he scored 26 points and grabbed 9 rebounds in a blowout win, highlighted his significance as a cornerstone player for the Knicks moving forward. Despite all that he has gone through personally, Towns continues to play at an elite level, which speaks to his resilience and commitment to his craft. For the Knicks, Towns represents more than just a basketball player. He symbolizes strength and perseverance in the face of adversity. The organization, which has historically struggled to find consistency and success, now finds itself in a position of optimism with Towns in the fold. His leadership on and off the court is becoming a defining aspect of the team's identity, and fans are beginning to rally behind him, not only because of his basketball ability, but because of his courage and character in the face of personal hardship. Part 2. The broader context of NBA rivalries and trash talk culture. While the drama between Karl-Anthony Towns and Draymond Green may have taken center stage recently, it serves as a microcosm of the broader NBA culture of trash talk, rivalries, and competitive spirit. The NBA is renowned for its high-octane, intense rivalries, with players frequently engaging in verbal exchanges that fuel fan interest and media coverage. From Magic Johnson and Larry Bird to Michael Jordan and Reggie Miller, the league has long embraced a culture of fierce competition, where athletes use both their physical and psychological skills to get under the skin of their opponents. However, the NBA's trash talk culture has evolved significantly over the years. What was once confined to the court, with players exchanging barbs during games, has now extended to social media, podcasts, and interviews. This evolution reflects the changing dynamics of how players communicate with fans and rivals alike. Players are no longer solely competing with each other during games. They are also engaging in a constant dialogue, often through personal platforms, that keeps the fans invested year-round. Green, who has built a reputation as one of the NBA's top trash talkers, is a product of this shift. His podcast, where he often provides commentary on league happenings, showcases his outspoken nature and willingness to criticize or provoke others. This type of media presence is becoming more common in the NBA, as players seek to control their own narratives and amplify their voices. Yet, this has also led to more scrutiny, especially when comments cross the line into personal territory, as was the case with his remarks about Towns. The rise of social media platforms has also exacerbated this trend. Players' comments and interactions are now shared instantaneously with millions of followers, amplifying the reach of their words. A single tweet or podcast episode can make headlines, further fueling the rivalry and creating a sense of drama that keeps fans on edge. While this can be an exciting aspect of the NBA, it also raises questions about responsibility and accountability. How far can players go in engaging in trash talk without crossing the line? Where should the league draw the line between healthy competition and harmful behavior? #the role of mental health and emotional intelligence in the NBA. The NBA is increasingly aware of the importance of mental health and emotional intelligence in the lives of its players. With the pressures of fame, performance expectations, and personal challenges, athletes are dealing with stress and emotional turmoil that extends beyond the basketball court. The incidents involving Towns and Green underscore the need for players to manage their emotional well-being while navigating the intense public spotlight. Towns, in particular, has shown immense emotional intelligence in how he responded to Green's comments. Rather than reacting with anger or taking offense, Towns demonstrated resilience and grace, choosing to approach the situation with love. This response is an example of how emotional intelligence can play a significant role in diffusing potential conflicts and maintaining personal peace, especially in an environment as high-stakes and pressure-filled as the NBA. For many players, mental health is becoming as important as physical health. Organizations are increasingly offering support to players through counseling services, mental health programs, and resources designed to help them cope with the pressures of their profession. Towns' maturity in handling public criticism and personal loss reflects a broader shift in the NBA, where players are beginning to prioritize their mental and emotional well-being as much as their physical conditioning. #Conclusion. navigating the fine line between competition and respect. The conflict between Karl-Anthony Towns and Draymond Green highlights the complexities of modern NBA rivalries. On one hand, trash talk and personal rivalries have always been part of the game, fueling fan engagement and media attention. On the other hand, as players become more publicly visible and as issues like mental health gain prominence, it is essential for the league to recognize the boundaries between competition and respect. Towns' response to Green's comments, grounded in love and understanding, offers a model for how players can handle public conflict with grace. By choosing to rise above the situation, Towns not only protected his own emotional well-being, but also set an example for his peers and fans alike. As the NBA continues to grow and evolve, it will be important for players, media personalities, and organizations to strike a balance between the fierce competitiveness that defines the league and the respect for each other's humanity that should be central to the game. Part 3. The long-term implications of personal challenges and triumphs in the NBA.